Morning, Keith at Crypto Bullseye. How's everyone doing this morning, guys? Let me know in the comments because you're probably feeling a little bit crap, and we've got some high risk altcoins today. Why have we got high risk altcoins? Because the guys in the Discord group work me and grind me so hard. So we've got Comp, we've got MakerDAO, we've got ASM, we've got Aave, we've got Cadenna, we've got Aero. And of course, we've done the Jasmine video earlier on. So go back and watch the Jasmine video. And of course, one thing that I did do in the Discord group this morning is put out my macro overview. So I've looked at what Bitcoin's doing, what the dominance is doing, what we expect to go into next week, what Ethereum's doing, what Ethereum needs to do to outperform Bitcoin, how the Russell 2000's performing, how far away is the S&P 500 from all-time highs. So I answer all of those questions in this video. It's completely free in the Discord group, guys. Get yourself in there. There's about 250, 300 members. Go and make 250, 300 friends. So all you do is when you get there, click on the link, guys. You'll start here to make sure that you're not a robot, that you're not a bot, solve the captcha, and then you get yourself into this Discord group with all of these great people in here. So enough of that, guys. Markets are fearful. We are down on the week. We are down on the day. You can see the crypto fear and greed is going into 43. It's nearly into fear, guys. It's edging into fear. So the markets are getting fearful. Why are the markets getting fearful? On the back of this, guys, uncertainty. The markets hate uncertainty. So one positive thing, guys, we will go over the altcoin request, but one positive thing is interest rate cuts are likely to happen going into July. And it's a case of how much is he going to cut? Is it going to be a 25 basis point? Or is it going to be a 50? Is it going to be bigger than that and you go 100 basis points? Mr. Trump's actually calling for 200 basis points, but I very much doubt that that's going to happen. So we're going to look at the altcoin requests. I will briefly touch on the macro in this video because it is important that we understand exactly what direction Bitcoin's going, how everything that's happening outside of crypto, guys, from a macro perspective, a world economical overview, how that's affecting the markets, creating the uncertainty. But things aren't looking as bad as what we think because altcoins are down, guys. But on the back of this, all of this that's happening, guys, Bitcoin, when you look at Bitcoin, it's holding up, guys. It's dropped its pennant, but it's holding up. It's still putting in a higher low. It's still got wiggle room to come all the way down to here between the 382 and the 618 retracement. Still got the 200 moving average, which is above. So if it was that bad, guys, Bitcoin would have done that. Dropped bearish completely. So we do look at Bitcoin for direction, guys. These are higher risk. So let's dive into your altcoin requests. Okay, firstly, a big thank you to my 9,310 subscribers on the road to 10,000, guys. When we do hit 10,000, we will have a 10,000 subscriber party. We'll get together on Zoom or something like that, or within the Discord group, and we'll do something together, and I'll do a few giveaways. And speaking of giveaways, guys, Real Infinite Crypto is coming on the channel this Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll be dropping a video. I'm going to be doing a video with him. I'm quite excited about that because he's got a big following. And he's going to be talking about his token, guys. I'm not going to say too much about it now, but I'll give you a hint. He's going to be giving $100 away of this token, which could appreciate quite a lot, guys. And he's going to split that between 4. So you've got a high probability, guys, while my channel's small, of winning something. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll do a giveaway. What we'll do is we'll jump into the Discord group and we'll do a giveaway on a live, and we'll get rid of those 4 lots of $25 of his token. But I did speak to him in length actually the other day, and he is an interesting guy. He's a really nice guy. And one thing that excites me, guys, is the utility and the tokenomics behind this token. So I'm not going to explain too much because I'll probably just completely mess it up, but I'll let him explain when he comes onto the channel. So make sure that you're available. Make sure you hit that notification bell and you're available on Wednesday or Thursday to make sure you can take advantage of the giveaway. Right, okay, we're going to jump into Aerodrome first. First things first, guys, this looks pretty oscillating. If we just zoom in, you can see prices just going up and down and up and down in a range. So how big is this range from the bottom to the top of the range? That is, guys, 738%, so 7.3x. So one thing, guys, we need to overcome in the short term, we say it time and time again, it is the 200 moving average. Above that, you're bullish. Below that, you're bearish. What I want to do is put on a fixed range volume indicator here to find out where the area of most traded volume is and to find out if we're above it or if we're below it. You can see, guys, this is the area and it is sat at 58 cents. So you've got 58 cents and you can see that we're just below the 200 moving average. So if we stick our Fibonacci, guys, that looks like a deep retracement. That looks probably like it could be around about a 782, but these lines do match up. It's amazing how these lines match up. So not quite there, but a 786. So you've got your 786 retracement here. If you get a deep pullback, that's going to be your last ditch hope. And if you break and close below 47 cents, then expect to come back and test the low here. We're not there yet, guys. We're putting a higher high. One thing that does concern me on this, and it may just indicate that this move's not finished yet on Aero, is we haven't got an extension for wave 3. Remember, if you expected a 5-wave move, wave 3, guys, cannot be the smallest wave. So wave 1 at the moment is bigger than wave 3. There's the pullback. Wave 2, wave 3 hasn't done a 1-to-1. Usually you'd expect it to at least come and hit the 1272 of this previous swing. So it indicates that this swing might not be over yet, guys. You might get a push. We are creating a bit of a pennant. If we just zoom into the 4-hour, you can see, you can just pop in a trend line, wait to see if we get a break. And when we do get a break, see how far we can go and see if we can test the $1 level. So that $1 is going to be a key psychological level that you'd expect to get rejected from. So that's Aero. In the short term, guys, I want to see if we get a pullback or if we get a continuation. If we get a continuation to the 1272, we can then put Fibonacci from the low all the way to its high and then expect a pullback. 618, guys, is usually a good number. But the main thing is that wave 3 would be intact and that we'd expect a wave 4 and a wave 5 to the upside. So that's Aero. Next one, comp. So let's get this off. Looks like we looked at comp quite a while ago. Right, okay, so comp, you can see this is pretty much in a range as well. How do you play this? So you can see we're below the 200 daily moving average. This is going to be simple, guys, because what we're waiting for is we're waiting for the traffic light system. So we're waiting for this to start trending upwards. What needs to happen to price action for that to trend upwards? We need a break of trend. So once we get a break of trend, if we come and test the 200, that means the 200 will start sloping up. And if we can manage to break above the 200, what will start happening is the 50 will start coming up. And once the 50 is above it and then the 20 is above it, that's your traffic light system in play, just like this, guys. So you've got your green at the bottom, 200. You've got your 50 in the middle. You've got your 20 at the top. What happens to price? Bam. What about the opposite, guys? You've got your green at the top, you've got the yellow in the middle, you've got the red at the bottom, bam. So we're waiting for that, guys, and it is important that we take out the 200 daily moving average in the short term. That is the next resistance barrier, and that's sat currently at 58 cents. So you can see this is the resistance point. This is the inversion fair value gap, 53 at the bottom, 58 at the top. Once you break and you close above that, guys, you're above the 200 and then you turn bullish. So you're waiting for a pullback here, you're waiting for a break. Once you've got a break, guys, you're waiting for the pullback. Once you've got a break, that indicates that this is the low. That's your protection. If you're wrong, expect to come back to this previous high. You're stopped out, limited amount of capital. So that's comp, guys. Not interested in comp at the moment. MakerDAO. So you can see this big rejection point here, clear rejection point. So that's going to be the area we need to overcome in the short term, this bit. So you've got 1,976 to 2,405. That is the big key rejection point. But look, guys, as you start breaking through these levels, there's little resistance above there. So let me just show you as an example. Stick on the fixed range volume profile again, and you can see this is the area of most traded volume, which is sat at $1.54. That's going to be something that you can fall back on. That is going to be a strong support. What else? 200 daily moving average, double confluence. So if you get a pullback, guys, which you could get a pullback, so you've got a double top here, you've got a double top here. If we just zoom in, you've got a lower low, lower low, lower low, lower close candle, and that's expecting to come back to test this next support level. So I'm expecting it to hold at that level, but it could pull back further, that one, guys. You've had the double top, you've had the reaction, and now you're starting a pullback. And it is dependent on Bitcoin, guys, and we'll have a look at Bitcoin very shortly. So ASM, got a strong base here. This is your support base. We're pretty much there now, guys. That's sat 0.01699. Price is currently at 0.0245. So have we got any kind of divergence? Not really, guys. You've got a little, no, not really. So we've got no divergence on there, guys. You've got a resistance point, which you need to overcome, which is going to be this here. 0.0229. Then, of course, you've got the 200 daily moving average, 0.03208. So that one's a tricky one, guys. I don't like the look of that one. It is at strong support. So if you DCA in, I haven't got a clue about this. I haven't researched it. If you DCA in, this is your strong support level. If you can get a small limit order at this and you believe in the project and you've researched the project, because I haven't, if you've researched the project, then look at the risk curve. Guys, remember, go into CoinGecko, find out how risky it is, what the ranking is, what the market cap, and then that shows you how much they allocate into something. If it is high risk, guys, you put less in. If it is low risk, you can put more in. So DCA in at this strong support level historically has worked out well. If you took profits up here, guys, otherwise you'd erode it all the way back down. So I'm not interested in that at the moment, unless it was a little DCA, a little one. Aave next. So Aave, it was always going to get a resistance point. We'd said, we've got these here, look, we'd said that was your support, that was a strong support, you got a bounce, that was your support, that was a strong support. That wick indicated that there was huge buying pressure there. We come back down, tested it. What happens? When you fall through, that becomes resistance. That was always going to be a big resistance level. And all of these candles here, a few weeks of price action, couldn't break through. So we managed to breach through, pierced it, guys. And then what happened? The bears, sell orders, completely outweighed the buy orders and pushed it back down into this range. So this range, guys, on Aave sat at $274 to the downside, $286 to the upside. And once we get a break and close above that, like I say, things are looking better. But what I wanted to show you guys on, this MakerDAO, this is what I forgot to show you, is when you look at the volume. So this is the area of most traded volume, this bit here. That's going to be your key support. You're above there, you're above the 200, you're above there, you're above the most area of traded volume. But see this, so this is the biggest volume. That's your volume spike there. There's your next one. Once you break that, that's going to act as support. Less volume, all the way up here, guys. So the further that you go up, less volume that there is. That means that there's less sell orders. That means that the levels are easier to get through. That means that the bulls have got clear momentum. So Cadenna next. So Cadenna was losing this major support we were talking about, 0.03784 to 0.042. If we just stick the indicators, this is the bullish thing on Cadenna. So you're putting in a bullish divergence on the RSI. That's a high low. That's showing that there's buy-in pressure there that's not represented by the chart. So we look at the chart and you can see what's happened. You've put in a lower low. So this needs to play out, guys. And this is creating a descending pennant. That is a bullish move, guys. It's putting in lower lows. It is a bullish move. It's coiling up. That means that the bears at this point here had momentum. They had full control until this point here. Then there's a grind, there's a battle, there's a tug of war battle happening. And when you get that, it's coiling up and it's coiling up. You've got a bullish divergence playing out, and then we're waiting. And the aim of the game is to take out 52 cents. And then you've got your 200 daily moving average at 66 cents. So when these are coiling down, guys, that's bad, that's bearish. And once we get a big volatile spike, a big volatile break, you'll start seeing this curving up. And then once you get above that, then you start seeing these moving averages fanning out in the right direction, i.e. the green at the bottom, 200, the 50 in the middle, 50, 20 at the top. And finally, I did promise you a macro overview, so we'll quickly go over Bitcoin, find out what's likely to happen in the coming days going into next week. But like I said, get in the Discord group and watch the full video because it's a bit more in depth. So very quickly, guys, Bitcoin, it's dropped its pennant, it's holding 102,356 as support. It's currently retesting this pennant, guys, and it's probably likely to reject this pennant. And I said in the earlier video, we're likely to come back and test this 38.2% retracement at least, which breaks the 100,000 to the downside, and that's 97,715 best case scenario, and back down here at 96,088 worst case scenario. And that's the 61.8% retracement from this previous swing here, and this is the 38.2% retracement from this swing here. So you've got wiggle room with the 200 daily moving average. Remember, above the 200, you're bullish. Below the 200, you're bearish. 200 is still fanning up. So you've got your 200, you've got your 618, and you've got your 382. If price comes back here, expect a lot of buy orders at this point. So Bitcoin's still got some wiggle room. It's got some downside. But remember, guys, when Bitcoin pulls back, altcoins pull back harder. So whilst there's uncertainty in the world, whilst things like this are going on, it creates panic, it creates fear in the market. Like we said earlier on, we touched on it, we're in fear nearly, we're just about into fear. So we're in the lower end of neutral, and potentially couple of more days, guys, that could be in fear, which could be a good thing, guys, because what happens when you're in fear, that's when the markets tend to bottom out. So that's what we're waiting for, guys. The interest rate cuts are an interesting thing that we need to monitor going into July. Are we going to get a hint that he's going to turn completely dovish and then drop the interest rate by lower than 25 basis points, which would create some kind of stimulus? So Bitcoin's got some wiggle room. If we monitor Bitcoin, if that pulls back, altcoins are likely to pull back harder. But this is the interesting thing, guys, because we said that this needs to maintain a lower high. Where's the high? It's here, 65.5. So you've got 65.5, guys. The chances are that this is going to put in a new high. So if Bitcoin puts in a new high, guys, on the dominance, what does that mean? That means if Bitcoin puts in a new high, there's a high probability of this coming back down and then altcoins getting hit even harder and then dominance spiking up because of the uncertainty in the short term. So you look at Ethereum, and we were talking about this pattern here, guys. Ethereum's dropped the 50-period moving average on the daily, and Ethereum has dropped this flag. So we've dropped the flag. We're rejecting from the flag. If we just pull that out here, that is sitting at, and price is currently at 2,445. But we'd said in the last video, guys, look at this. When you get a big spike to the upside like that, with a lack of a build up of price action in between, creating structure, then expect that move back to the downside. So you've got support on Ethereum. If we do drop this level, sat at 1,984 to 1,912, that's the next support buy, and that coincides here, guys, with this structure. So we do need structure. Unfortunately, Ethereum's got no structure here. If it drops this level, it's likely to come back all the way down there. And it is a bit of a drop, guys, for Ethereum because it's the second biggest market cap leader of 18% to 20%. So we do need to watch that, guys. If Bitcoin pulls back, Ethereum's going to pull back harder. Altcoins are going to pull back harder. It is going to hurt in the short term. But if it creates some kind of a capitulation event, that creates a washout of the weak hands. The new people that are coming into crypto, guys, the new people that are coming into crypto are all in a loss. New people don't understand the volatile swings of crypto, that when you get a big move to the downside, you can also get a big move to the upside. However, we need strong hands. We need people that are holding during the course of the alt season, during the course of the bull market. People have got conviction, people have got belief. That creates less sell orders, more buy orders. So enough of the rant, guys. That was just talking about the risk curve. So Ethereum, what I'm saying is Ethereum is going to pull back hard if Bitcoin pulls back. What will that do? Because we're monitoring this, guys, and we've dropped this pattern here. This is the pennant. We need to break above here in the short term. We need to break above here. We need to test the 200 moving average. And this is the Ethereum against Bitcoin chart. We need Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin in the short term. We need to take back the 200 moving average. And we need to move to the upside to create the next ETH season. Guys, there's Bitcoin season, there's ETH season. Remember, I say it time and time again. Within ETH season, you get alt season. So Bitcoin season, we had the big Bitcoin season. We're waiting for the Ethereum season. You can see how far down we are here. That is a bullish move still. We haven't taken out this previous low. That's 0.02247 Satoshis. So let's see if we can regain this pattern and see if we can get back in here in the next couple of days. And the next one's total 3, guys. We need a breakout to the upside of total 3. We need to take out the 200 moving average, which is sat at 886.56 billion. This is the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum. So excluding the two big players within the market, guys, that's the total 3. And that's my metric for alt season. When we get a break, when we get a close above the previous all-time high of the 2021 bull run. What's my conviction behind that, guys? Because you haven't got Bitcoin, you haven't got Ethereum, and the liquidity is getting sucked out of the market over the past 2-3 years by Bitcoin because institutions, banks, all of these people want a piece of Bitcoin, and no one wants the on-risk altcoins because the macro sentiment is saying that it's not the right time at the moment, guys. So we're waiting for the on-risk rally. It is months late, guys, but remember, the markets rhyme, the markets never repeat, and this is definitely a late rally. So we need a breakout to the upside of total 3. What I was getting at is my thesis is within this, you've got your Solanas, you've got your XRP, you've got your Dogecoins, you've got your Cardanos, you've got all these big players outside of Bitcoin, outside of Ethereum, building with network growth on there, big transactional value happening on the network, and then actual adoption. So what I'm saying is, if we don't get a break and if we don't get a close of the previous all-time high of 2021 of total 3, this doesn't make sense, guys, because people are using the network. That's creating the network growth, which is creating additional value, which is not represented by the price. So that's showing that something's undervalued. And the crypto market and the altcoins, guys, at the moment, they're definitely undervalued. So next thing we look at is the USDT dominance. And you can see we had a spike up here and we've got a double top that we're creating here. If this double top holds, we're waiting for one thing now. We're waiting for a 3-bar reversal. So a candle tomorrow, which does something like this, which completely takes out the previous extreme low of this candle here. So if we get something like that going into tomorrow, guys, that's going to signal that that double top's going to hold and we're going to get a further downside on the USDT dominance. And that's what we want, guys. We want downside, we want a lower high, and then we want to move to the down. That's showing a weak dollar, guys. When you've got weak stable coins, when you've got a weak dollar, that's signaling a shift into on risk. So this is the DXY, guys, and we're going to be monitoring the DXY over the coming days because it's the strength of the dollar. And if the dollar starts to decide to go strong now, then expect short-term volatility within the crypto market. You've got your 200 moving average sat all the way up here, guys, at around 104.032 at the moment. So we are going to watch that and we're going to monitor that. And the VIX, guys, we said earlier on, the VIX, this was the big shakeout. That was the big capitulation. That was the scare in the market. This is what happened on the back of this news earlier on over the last few days. So the VIX is fine. And you look at the S&P, how far away? All-time highs? Not too far away, guys. We are 2.79% away from all-time highs in the S&P. So the S&P, guys, is not actually listening to what the world's doing. The S&P is recovering. We've got a V-shaped recovery here. That's as strong as they get. And then we look at the Russell 2000. We look at the Russell 2000 because that is on risk within the stock market, guys. We're waiting for the Russell 2000 to recover. You can see when you look at the S&P, how much the S&P has recovered. S&P is low risk. Then you look at the Russell 2000. Russell 2000 is high risk. So it's got a rejection at the 61.8% retracement. And it's also got a rejection at the 200 moving average, which sat at 2,173.3528. So when we see a recovery of the Russell 2000, when that starts to break all-time highs, that will coincide with an on-risk rally. That will coincide with an alt season. So that's why we have to look at the macro, guys, to paint a bigger picture before you start looking at all these altcoins, the high-risk ones. Like I say, with Aero, that's a swing one. That's a pullback. We don't know if this is going to be an extension, but if you're waiting and waiting to get that extension, that gives you the edge because then you can stick your Fibonacci on there, guys, and then you can look for buy levels. How far are you going to pull back? Is it going to be a 38.2? Is it going to be a 61.8? It coincides with previous structure, guys. So this move's not finished yet. We need to leave it. We need to look at it. We need to monitor it over the next few days. And then we can do that in the Discord group, guys. Get yourself in there. Like I say, I'll say it time and time again, it's completely free. Go and make a bunch of new friends, guys, in the Discord group. But that was a long-winded one. If you want more long videos like this, let me know in the comments and bye from me.